Hello, Governor. How is everyone tonight? Hi. Hi. Welcome in. Welcome in. Tony, thank you so much for being here. Okie, hang on just a second. There. Sorry. I could hear myself in my headphones. Oh my God. Ugh. Okie, hi, honey. Remy, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going to give you this thing. I'll give you this one. You're a superstar. A superstar. Yes, yes. Twist. Twisty. Hi, baby. I went on a little early. Cheese. All right, all right, all right. Hi, Peach. Oh, honey, hi. Queen Bella, thanks for being here. Marie, don't be a douche. Hi. Hey. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about the Andrew, formerly known as Prince. I do need some help with aspect ratios. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's just be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. But I do want to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. This space is all about understanding people and the world a little better while staying balanced and objective, and always with a little dash of snark, because the truth is out there. But so is the nonsense. So subscribe and let's make some sense of it all, or have some fun trying. Hey, hi. I almost drowned in my spit. Shelly, hi, honey. Fur baby lover. Big hugs, babe. Hey, do you guys have that uncle or maybe that weird relative in your family? You know, the one that tells childish jokes about body functions and tells sex jokes at really inappropriate times. You know, that person that you strategically avoid at every family gathering? Yeah, I think we all have one of those. Well, welcome to the royal family, because they have Andrew. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And first of all, because it is a day late, I do want to tell Andrew, happy birthday, buddy. I got you something special. They're silver bracelets. They match. Booyah. Anyway, so are most of you guys fairly caught up on the royal family? Because I have like a real quick history to go through with you if you're not. So if you just, I'm gonna sit here and drink my tea, Earl Grey, hot. Just let me know. Are you familiar with the royal family? What's going on with Andrew? It's kind of Epstein-ish. Put a 1 in the chat. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Okay. Thanks for the input, guys. Everybody's familiar with Queen Elizabeth, right? Because pretty much everybody in my chat, she was the only British monarch that we've known of. Because, okay, please share the history. Because she basically ascended the throne in the early 1950s. Didn't the royal family? Oh, yeah, geez. Jimmy Savile. We're not going to go there tonight, but we might go there another night if you guys like royal family. Okay, so Queen Elizabeth was originally just Princess Elizabeth, and she married Philip Mountbatten. And Philip was in the Navy, and he was stationed away from Britain. And so Elizabeth and Philip started their family with Charles, he's the oldest, and then Anne, she's the second. Way back then, girls could not ascend to the throne. It was boys only. So, Princess Elizabeth's dad died and she became queen. So when she became queen, she had, 2 little kids. They were like 4, 3, something like that each. And then, so she got into the thing and, worked with Winston Churchill and all the things and whatnot. And then a while later, she had what people affectionately called the second family. Now, here's a picture. This is actually, see, Charles is about 13. Anne is maybe 10, 11, something like that. This is Andrew right here. And then that's Edward, the youngest one that nobody ever remembers. So here's another picture of them. See, there's Andrew, and there's Charles. Look, he's already a teenager. And there's Princess Anne, Philip, Queen Elizabeth, and this is little Edward. And then this is a picture of them not too long ago. See, there's Princess Anne. That's Edward. There's Andrew. Charles, already looking like an old dude. Anywho, so that's her second family. All right. So, I guess she'd been on the throne probably about 10 years when she had Andrew. And Andrew was like her favorite son. He made her laugh. He was cute. She'd already settled into being, monarch and the queen stuff. And so she really, really enjoyed the last two much more than she did Charles and Anne, just because of her duties and whatnot. So because of that, Andrew is kind of a spoiled jerk. Yeah. Looking the other way quite a bit. And here's the thing with that. I grew up with Andrew. I grew up with the royal family because my grandfather is from Great Britain. He was from Liverpool and lived in Canada. So whenever I was up there with them or he was down visiting us, he had to talk about royalty because he was what is called a monarchist. He's a royalist. He just through and through believed in the royal family, that they were God ordained, to rule. And me being the twitty little American that I am, couldn't quite understand that. But anyway, so my thumbnail says Wally Windsor, in case you weren't aware of it. In Britain, the term, if you call somebody a Wally, it's kind of an insult, I guess you would say. It just means that they're They're goofy and kind of stupid and awkward and all the things. All the things a prince of the realm should not be. So as Andrew was growing up, I grew up with knowing him by nicknames. And some of his nicknames are Randy Andy. Randy, in case you didn't know, means horny. It's like Austin Powers, right? Do I make you Randy, baby? Do I make you horny? Of course, Wally Windsor, and then Air Miles Andy. So not really good things. So his whole life, everybody was kind of, okay, he's the queen's favorite, whatever. So there's this book out by Andrew Lowney called Entitled. And he put this out, I think it was the end of 2024. Don't quote me. Anyway, I've read this book and I'm actually going to be reading it to you because talk about juicy details and history and research. Hey, Shayna, how are you, babe? Zen. And my girl. So this book right here, now, Andrew Lowney is actually an editor. He's a book editor based in London, and he's also a historian. And so when he goes and does some research, he really does research. And for this book, which is about Andrew and Sarah, they're the House of York, the Duke and Duchess of York. He actually talked to 3,000 people, interviewed, house staff, protection officers, friends, people in their PR department, just all kinds of people. Only 300 of them out of that 3,000 were willing to go on the record. So he's got a bunch more that he's releasing in May. It's kind of an extended version. Hey, Tracy Spudler. Hi. So there's a lot of details in this book entitled that he has that some people think that Andrew is in the position he's in now because of some of these things that Andrew put out here, Andrew Lowney put out there, because they are very, very specific. But we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay. So we talked about Queen Elizabeth and her second family with Andrew and Edward. And then the weird thing was that when Andrew and Edward were little guys, their dad, Prince Philip, was in kind of a scandal thing. It was called the Profumo scandal. And evidently Philip's, what we would call a chiropractor here, they called an osteopath there, was actually dating a Russian spy. And there was, some scuttlebutt that Philip was attending parties with this guy. And so it was a thing. So just to think, this isn't the first scandal they've had. All right. So Andrew's growing up and, he was basically spoiled. He was immature. He was undisciplined and he was a jerk. While he was away at school, one of his house matrons, that's what they call like their dorm area, is kind of like Hogwarts, right? Minerva McGonagall was head of the Gryffindor house. Well, they had the same sort of thing growing up. Anyway, so one of his house matrons was crippled. She had problems with her back and she had trouble getting up and down stairs. She had to basically go down the stairs backwards, holding onto the railings. And so Andrew and his friends used to make fun of her. And then he missed a bunch of classes because he was smoking in the boys' room. So he gets through all that. You remember Benny Hill saying, Randy? Yeah, I love Benny Hill. He was a playboy Bit of an empty. Ah, for some reason, my StreamYard is not catching up with chat. So if something goes weird, let me know, because we're in like a whole, all the planets are in Aries and blah. Anywho, so yeah, he was a playboy. He was a playboy. That's for sure. And I this is just a really high level thing, so you kind of get an idea of what Andrew is and where he came from. So, anyway, he barely made it through school. And a lot of people say that the only reason he did make it through school is because of favor, because of the monarch's favor. Hey, Pokey, how are you? Anyway, so because he was the queen's son, they just pushed him through, right? Oh, there we go. Now I have my chat again. He was actually released yesterday, Jana. We're going to get to that. So, anywho, he goes to he gets through his schooling, and Prince Philip said, "You're not exactly university material, my son, because even by the tender age of 18, 19, hey, Nanny Sharon, hi, honey, 18, 19, he was a partier. They called him Randy Andy because he had so many girlfriends. Evidently, he couldn't control his sex drive. Maybe took after his daddy. I don't know. Allegedly, in my opinion. For entertainment purposes only. Link in bio. Anyway, so they said, you're really not university material. So why don't you join the Navy? In the Navy, you can help your fellow man. So that's what he does, right? Dude enters the Navy. Here he is. When he was younger, they used to say that he looked like Robert Redford, because between Charles and Anne, and then Andrew came along, and he was really the best looking of them all. Okay, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that's what they said. So this is him in his helicopter pilot's uniform and whatnot. So he goes through the Navy, and, they're increasing him in rank because he's the queen's son. I do have to say, though, he did actively participate in the Falklands War. So he flew helicopters in the Falklands War. He actually, they had some things where the helicopter he was flying was like a decoy, so that it would draw, firing. It would draw bullets away from the ones that were actually fighting. He was handsome. That one, he looked like William. Yeah, not the Robert Redford I know either. But anyway, no, that's what they equated him. He was like the Robert Redford of the family. But here's the thing. And I'm trying to stop saying that. Here's the thing. He's advancing in the Navy. He ends up getting married to Sarah Ferguson. That was wonderful. They were both goofy as hell together. Totally side story, but he was gone a lot with the Navy. And so they were trying to find something for him to do that kind of sounded important, but he really wasn't bright enough, and he wasn't dedicated enough to be assigned his own command ship or his own ship to command. So, it got to the point where they're like, I don't know what to do with him, so he was discharged from the Navy. This is where stuff started to go wrong, okay? Because he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't very bright. He was kind of a party guy. He was really personable. He had kind of a quirky sense of humor, with jokes and things that he pulled on some of his friends and other people of the royal family. But he gets out of the Navy, and he is a working royal, so they need to make him work. They need to make him do something. So they actually created this position for him. He was called a special representative for international trade and investment. He was an ambassador. And so what he would do is he would go to different countries and, meet with the leaders and the prime ministers and the kings and all that stuff. And he would encourage these countries to work with Britain, with, the United Kingdom, for construction projects and for trade investments and all the things, all the money things, right? But so he started that in 2001, and he was actually doing it till 2011. But as he's doing this, that's where he got his name, Air Miles Andy, because he would use the royal private jets for everything. He would have like some sort of royal engagement. He was going to meet with somebody in the United Arab Emirates or something. And so he'd have 2 days of meeting, and then he'd stay for like 3 or 4 days, to play golf or to engage prostitutes or whatever the thing was. And so the people that are actually paying for all this stuff started realizing that Buckingham Palace was paying millions of dollars a year for dinners, for dances, for fashion shows. I mean, he was even hosting commercial dinners in Buckingham Palace. And that's where he was living for a while before he married Sarah. So, like I said, he was using the royal jets. He was using helicopters to go everywhere. A lot of it was golfing. He really enjoyed golfing. There's a story in the book entitled where he used a royal helicopter to get from Buckingham Palace over to someplace. It may have been like a 2-hour, 3-hour drive or something. But he used a royal helicopter, and then he had someone drive his car the 2 or 3 hours so he could use it while he was there. And then once he was done, he took the helicopter back. He didn't even drive back. So people are realizing that it's like this never-ending hemorrhage of money going for Andrew, having a great time. Oh, if you ever want to know what a pure elitist looks like, that's him. Yes. Oh, royal celebrity, it's a knockout. Oh, that was crazy. Oh my goodness, where they were all dressed up and Andrew was the epitome of let's embarrass the royal family. The decisions he made, the things he decided to participate in, all that kind of thing. It was just like one embarrassing thing after another. So while he was this special representative for international trade and investment, we'll just call him the trade ambassador, okay? He started making questionable associates. And he started working and making some deals with countries and individuals that the UK was not on good terms with. So people started looking at him going, why are you there? The people that he was tied to were people like Saif Gaddafi, Kazakhstan oligarch, the construction company owned by the family of Osama bin Laden, and of course, Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, he was special trade envoy. Hey, Soupy, how are you? He was special trade envoy from 2001 to 2011, so about 10 years, right? So, like I said, he kind of became friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, he says, and I'm going to play a bit of an interview that he did with Newsnight. Okay. Emily Maitlis. And this is the interview that basically killed him, that just destroyed him. We're not there yet. So he's buddies, probably met, Epstein somewhere in 2000, maybe a little before, because Andrew was friends with Epstein's quote unquote girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine's British. And so they kind of knew each other. They were in the same social circles, blah, blah, blah. And so in 2005, the police in Palm Beach, Florida, began investigating Epstein because there was a parent of a girl he had sexually abused. She was 14. So federal officials identified 36 girls, some as young as 14, whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. Epstein pleaded guilty, and he was convicted in 2008 by a Florida state court for procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute, but it was actually knocked down to only 2 counts because of a plea deal. And then the 18 months that he spent in jail, he was given work release. So Monday through Friday, or even Saturdays, his chauffeur would come pick him up at the jail. He would go to work. They'd bring him back. And basically, he just slept in the jail. So that's what he got. Okay. And then this happened. Remember seeing this picture? This was from, hi, Lacey. Doodles, hi. This is actually from 2001. Nobody knew about this picture, though, until Virginia Giuffre, her maiden name was Roberts, Virginia Roberts. She gave a deposition outlining her involvement with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. And she showed this picture. She had actually asked, because they were at, this was in London at Ghislaine's apartment. I can't remember the area that it's called. Anyway, it was at Ghislaine's townhouse, and Virginia said, I have to get a picture with you because my mom is going to love this. So that's how this came about. Of course, there's a bunch of people saying that this is fake. It was photoshopped. Andrew doesn't remember it. Blah, blah, blah. What are we doing? Let me check on you guys. We're all saying hi. Wonder if he will be charged. We'll have to see. Okay, we're all saying hi. Hi. He didn't care. He was addicted to the pleasures. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. The one asking for clemency. Oh, Doodles on your phone. That's fun. As we say in Britain, shady as F. Yes, we say that too. I haven't heard it all, but what I have is bad. Yep. You think Trump is going to pardon Maxwell? Yes, Cheese. If that's her in prison. I should probably show you that. Yep, heard about the jerky. She did. Virginia came out with a book that was, I think it was released posthumously because she died. And her book is, Ghislaine Maxwell in the background. Yuck. Her father stole the pensions of his employers. Many had been there for years. He used their pensions fund as his own spends. Are you talking about Ghislaine, right? Her dad, Robert? Yeah. The hand position is impossible. No, it's not. Yeah, rest in peace. Please thumbs up for Grandma. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so Epstein, gets charged. He goes to jail. He has just this fairy tale light sentence. In the meantime, Virginia does this deposition, brings out this photo, and in her deposition, she says that she met Andrew and had to have sex with him 3 times. Once was here, Belgravia, that's what it's called. Ha ha, I knew I'd get it. Once was here, Shalane's in Belgravia. And then another time was in Epstein's place in New York. But anywho, while they were here in London, Virginia said that they went out to dinner and then they went to this nightclub to go dancing. And Prince Andrew was sweating like a pig. Her shoulder is in his armpit. Inspirational and heartbreaking. It is. Yeah, her shoulder is in his armpit. He's got her arm around it. The hand position is impossible, is what his wife said. She said the picture is fake. Yeah, they all said the picture is fake. They all said it was photoshopped and all that stuff. And basically, the only thing that anybody investigative had was a picture of the picture. They didn't actually have the actual printed version that she had. Yeah, actually, Spuds, if you want to come up in just a minute, I want to talk to somebody about this. Yes, yes. And Sarah, oi, when I read entitled to you guys, you are going to be so outraged. So outraged. You want to talk about grifters on YouTube? These people are royal grifters. I mean, literally. So anyway, so she gave the deposition, right? And then Andrew, because he's an arrogant SOB, thinks he knows better than anybody else. He goes on the BBC News on a show called Newsnight. It's kind of like our Barbara Walters sort of thing, right? And so she's asking him about his Epstein stuff because that picture and things came out. Gotcha. Okay. So the picture came out. So he goes on this thing saying, oh, I'm going to answer for myself and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, this interview was his undoing. I can't play too much because it's like, super copyrighted. But here we go.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
Okay, so at the time, Virginia Roberts, Virginia Giuffre, was 17 years old. There's a lot of hullabaloo about age of consent in England. At that time was 16. It wasn't a big thing, but age of consent in California, or wherever she was living at the time, Florida, was 18. So here we go. And I want you to look at him because he stutters a lot. Check his eyes out. The behavior panel has excellent breakdown on this. Oh, you'd probably say too much. Oh, girl. Well, actually, I just want to talk about the after his arrest and release, so we don't have to go into Nazi details. This is just a history, catch people up. But watch him. You want to say liar?
No, I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm convinced that I was never in tramps with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in tramps. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in tramps whenever I was there.
Okay. He doesn't drink. He doesn't know about all that. Oh, and I don't have my bullshit detector. So we'll just continue on.
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
No, that couldn't have happened because the date that is being suggested, I was at home with the children.
You know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day that we now understand is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose, sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Pizza Express, a prince of the royal realm, is taking his daughter to a Pizza Express, which is, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of a cross between Little Caesars and Chuck E. Cheese. Right.
And then because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there. I was on terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do.
Because I'm an arrogant SOB. And I'm lying through my teeth. Here, I'm sorry. Here we go.
A very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been to Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. But as soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that. But I have no recollection of ever meeting or being in the company or the presence.
So you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March?
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating.
Profusely sweating. And this is where it gets good. Yes, thou doth protest too fucking much. Yes, Spudler, the daughters who no longer speak to you or their mother, I think they're trying to save their own tails, but we can get in there.
And that she went on to have possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and
a peculiar medical condition that's called lying.
That was actually yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply it was almost impossible for me to sweat,
and every doctor on the planet has said that's bullshit. That doesn't happen. I mean, he may have crapped his pants several times, right? While he was in the Falklands, totally understand that, but not being able to sweat, nah. But I can tell you right now, he's sweating for sure. I just dropped the link for that BBC interview. If you guys want to go have a look-see at it, he's got more drag than a 3-legged horse. Right, using his daughter as an alibi. Oh, girl, you want to talk about when Epstein got out of prison? And Sarah decides she's going to take Eugenie and Beatrice to see Epstein in New York. Oh my God. Yeah, he'd be dead if he didn't sweat. Anyway, so that was the big thing, right? And people in Buckingham Palace, all the courtiers, even the press was saying, oh, could you be any dumber? Doing this interview, could you be any dumber? And she just lobbed him softballs. She didn't ask any hard-cutting questions. She did, say, well, she says you were there and you weren't and blah, blah. But the thing was, that was not a hard interview. But now, keep in mind, this is 2019. 2019, the Newsnight interview happens. You know what happens right after the interview? Anyone? He makes an announcement that he's going to be stepping back from royal duties. Like it's his idea, right? So his mom, Queen Elizabeth II, took his, what is it called? An honorific of His Royal Highness. His Royal Highness was taken. She took his patronages. She took his military honors and his assignments. Gone. Gone, gone, gone. So, now, I didn't know this at the time. The problem with arrogance is that you assume no one is smarter than you. And with Andrew, being smarter really isn't that hard. It's not, because he's a twit. He's an arrogant twit, thinking that the palace was going to cover up for him and he could get away with all kinds of crap, all kinds of underhanded dealings, laundering money through charities, whole 9 yards. He was moved to the guest house. How do you demote a prince? Is this a joke? Yeah. Twisty, the king is paying for it personally, no public money. Yes, exactly. Well, here's the fun part. Okay. So in 2021, Virginia Giuffre, nee Roberts, files a lawsuit for sexual assault against Andrew. Had everybody up in arms, absolutely panicked. Oh, FYI, fun tip. Virginia Giuffre's attorney had Meghan Markle on the witness list to testify for Virginia because she knew Epstein and Andrew so well. Boom. Okay. But anyway, so Queen Elizabeth was sick. You know, she was like super old by 2021. Oops. Sorry. By 20 or 21. And King Charles was kind of doing a regent co-monarchy thing. So he was making a bunch of decisions. So, yeah. So he was making a bunch of decisions as far as, you know, the family and the country and all that stuff. So Andrew wanted to go to court. He says he's so innocent. He wanted to go to court. And Buckingham Palace and all the counselors and everything said, oh, hell no. So they decided that they would come to a settlement with Virginia. So in 2022, Virginia Giuffre settles with Andrew, formerly known as Prince. And the amounts are different that I've heard. 14 million pounds, $20 million, 12 million pounds. I don't know. It was a lot of money. Hey, Sinner, how are you? Oh, welcome. Welcome, Dave the Sinner. So she settled for a lot of money to keep quiet. They just wanted her to go away. And she was not really having it. In the meantime, during all this stuff, documents from 2010 kind of surfaced suggesting that Andrew had shared official trade trip reports with Epstein. And that's what I keep saying, you know, about the whole thing. We're going to have trouble getting any of these people on sex crimes. They got Ghislaine behind bars for sex crimes. They, you know, convicted Jeffrey in 2008. They rearrested him, you know, for the sex crime stuff. But what we need to do is follow the money. And that's what Met Police is doing right now. All right. So anybody remember this? Remember this picture? This is Andrew on the left, Jeffrey on the right, in 2010, which was after Epstein's conviction. And this came out in the British newspapers, and people were like, "What?" And Andrew's like, I had to go and say I can't be friends with you anymore. And I had to stay at his house for 4 or 5 days because of that. So people are like, "Oh, hell no. We don't believe you." All right. So time progresses. Everybody thinks that Andrew's just hunky dory. Okay, fine. He's not His Royal Highness anymore. He said he wouldn't use the Duke of York. That everything's great. He's still living in the big palatial house on Windsor Park, which is crown property, means it actually belongs to the reigning monarch, doesn't belong to personal person or and if there's no monarch, it would belong to the people of Great Britain, of the United Kingdom. So that's interesting. So he's living in Royal Lodge, right? And then October of 2025, King Charles is out shaking hands and doing nice stuff and whatever, and people start, what is it called, chiding, mocking, jeering him. Sir, are you protecting Andrew about the Epstein? What kind of cover-up are you doing for Andrew? And then, so Charles, who's just basically a coward, goes, aye, ooh, no, yeah, we got to deal with this because it's getting weird, okay? So then King Charles, in 2025, October, stripped Andrew of everything. He's no longer Duke of York. He even stripped him of Prince. And people were talking about this forever and ever, and they're saying, well, you can't strip him of Prince because he's technically the son of the Queen. No, all these things are just names. They're honors. What are we doing over here? Since we're taking a bit of a break, I'm going to give you a thank you. I could give you thank you and a welcome.
See what I did? You so totally rock, Squirt! So give me some fin. Noggin. Dude.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, no one's getting charged with SA, leading to even more distrust in our democracy and everything, across the pond. Charles is an obnoxious idiot, too, in your humble opinion. Guess I'm going to the tower now. Okay, bye, Spud. We'll send you some dried bread and water while you're up there in the tower, okay? Yeah. Hi, Mystery. Oh, he's roughing it. Yeah, 30 rooms at the Royal Lodge. He would be a walking target. There's a bunch of people. Yep, I don't believe that it's not Ghislaine in prison. That's Austin Powers. I never understood how the monarchy got their riches. Or are they just living off the history of plunging as they did through the... Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, financial crimes are quicker to get the burden of evidence enough to charge. The rest will come later as it has bigger international issues and evidence. And there are some countries over in the European Union that are getting rid of their people, having them retire. They're moving out of state, that kind of thing, because of all this Epstein stuff. Yeah, it means it's all paid for by us. Remember I told you that the Buckingham Palace and the people back when Andrew was the special blah, blah, trade, yakety schmackety, people were going, why are we spending millions on this guy every year? Why? And so this is not something new. Not something new. Oops. They have landed farms, etc., that are theirs. The rest is owned by the country. Yeah. Okay, like for instance, Andrew was living at Royal Lodge, which is in Windsor Park, and that is owned by the crown. All right. Andrew has been moved about 3 hours away from London into Sandringham. Sandringham is owned by basically Charles. It's privately owned. It's not, a portion of the crown, not the business, not the firm, whatever you want to call it. So, Sandringham is in Norfolk County. Like I said, about 3 hours away from London. He's supposed to be moving into a little place. It probably has 8 or 10 bedrooms or something, called Wood Farm. Excuse me. He's supposed to be moving to Marsh Farm, but it's being renovated because it had rats. Oh, rats. And so he's been staying in this other place where the Prince and Princess of Wales typically stay when they're in Sandringham. They stay at Wood Farm. So he was temporarily there. Okay. The main royals do a job and we pay them. Others just have the title. Exactly. Hey, Grain. Hi, honey. Did I miss anybody? Yes, he should be moved into prison. Should be moved into prison. Yes. Yeah, I've been trying to, yank some stuff out of ZJ, Zero Jewels. And I don't know. I love the royal family. Like I said, my grandfather was from Britain, and he loved the monarchy. So I know way more about stuff. You want to talk about the abdication of Edward VIII. You want to talk about, the lung cancer of George, whatever. Where are we going? Oh, yes, I know where we were going. So all this stuff is happening. Met Police is actually looking into stuff, not really heavily, because come on, it's the king's brother. It's the queen's son. They've been getting away with shit for years. It ain't no thing. But as the more Epstein files and Epstein was it's being ratcheted up. Because we had the whole, oh, boo, he's horrible. And then he dies in jail. Right. Oh, well, all done with that. Just dust off the hands. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. And then Ghislaine's arrested and imprisoned. So people have not been backing off this whole thing because the Epstein class, as they're called, are a group of incredibly, filthy, disgusting, perverted, rich people. And all these filthy, disgusting, perverted, rich people are filthy, disgusting, and perverted. So they're finally figuring all this out. But thank you so much. So yesterday, which was Andrew's birthday. Grain, have you blocked? Grain, do you have mystery blocked? Anyway, so yesterday was his birthday. And we got him a birthday gift. Happy birthday, Andy. Happy birthday, honey. I got you a pair of silver bracelets. They're matching. I'm sure you love it. You love it, don't you, honey? Yeah. So yesterday we wake up and find out that about 8 o'clock local time, Scotland Yard had 5 vehicles pull up in front of Wood Farm. And one go around the back just in case nobody can sneak out the back with any kind of evidence or any kind of thing. They put Andrew in some handcuffs. They arrested him and they took him in for questioning. Now, hi, Joe. How are you? He hasn't been charged with anything. Okay. He was just arrested. And when they do that, it's called, help me, guys, questioning under caution is what it's called. Questioning under caution, which means that we're going to talk to you. We're probably going to try to charge you with something. Oh, you know what, Spud? So many people are talking about that. He actually has a palace that was given to him. And I forget the country. It's either Qatar or it's UAE. But he was gifted a palace from all those Saudi people that he was hanging out with. When I say Saudi, it's just a general, term. I don't know which country they're from. Is Andrew the only royal in the files they've released? Well, actually, Prince Harry is listed in there. So far that people have been able to find is it's not like weird stuff. Like Meghan Markle is weird stuff. She was on the yacht. She was, at parties and all the blah. But Prince Harry's in there. And I'm sure it is. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's like, mugshot. It's like, put him in the room with the stainless steel toilet. Oh, you just watched a video on him? Yeah, if it's not Nancy Guthrie, it's Andrew. Okay. So they brought him in. He was still in his jammies, little bunny slippers, when they came in, and they got him yesterday morning on his birthday. God is good. God has a sense of humor. Just a moment. Yes. So they pulled him out. They kept him at the questioning for about 11 hours. And then they released him. Because technically, once you arrest somebody, and he was arrested under corruption of public office, which means that he was in a public office, as he was as the trade envoy, and he was making deals like with the countries that the UK doesn't really deal with, some of our enemies. He was talking to people that is not a good thing. All right. So he was doing that. Plus, oh dang, I meant to bunnies. Yeah, I'm sure he's got bunny slippers. He's got like 72 teddy bears sitting on his bed, so why not bunny slippers? But when he and Sarah got married, the Queen gave them some land and they custom built a house. What was the name of that? Sunningham or something like that. Anyway, so they custom built this house and lived there for a while. And then they decided they were going to sell it. And this Middle Eastern guy bought it for $3 million over asking price. It sat empty and abandoned for the longest time until this, Saudi king or whatever he was bought his property. And I don't have my notes on that. Kicks YouTube for our screen names. My sister swears that we're related to her. Oh, Princess Diana? I don't know. Are you a Spencer? Anywho, so there's all kinds of just weird stuff going on, right? So he sells his house $3 million over the asking price, which, looks like funky money. So we need to follow the money. The thing is that even though he wasn't charged yesterday, because they only have 24 hours after they slap the cuffs on. So they didn't charge him yesterday. And so they could have gone to like a magistrate or a judge and say, hey, we need to keep him for, another day. We need to keep him 36 hours. They can go up to 92 hours if they have enough, but they decided, nah, they're just going to question him. But here's the thing. He has to go back. He knows that he is being questioned under caution. Yes. Very specific charge that his electronics will prove. Okay, so about 10 days ago or so, King Charles came out and made a statement saying, we're very concerned. We stand with the victims and anything that the authorities need, that we're going to cooperate fully. So when they took Andrew in, they raided They went back to Royal Lodge because he still had stuff over there, even though he was kicked out. And then they went through Wood Farm, where he's staying right now, and they collected everything: phones, laptops, tablets, who knows what else. Probably, 67 of those 72 teddy bears from his bed, because they're going to find it. Hell if I know. I know we're mutts. She acted like I was terrible. And, hey, receipts or didn't happen. Right, Pook? Yeah. You can change it, honey. You can change it. Yeah. But anyway, so Royal Charles. Yes. So, Cheese had mentioned earlier that King Charles had a really close relationship with this guy named Jimmy Savile. And Jimmy Savile was kind of like, I don't know, Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, Ryan Seacrest, whatever, right? He did charitable things. He was a comedian. He hosted game shows. It was a whole big thing. And people loved him for like decades. They loved him, thought he was fabulous. And he and Charles were like peas and carrots. They were just the things together. And then we find out, hang on. Nope. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, guys. Hold on just a second. Hold on. I wasn't going to show this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. Whatever that is. Stop. Nope. Oh, here's a good picture. You guys will like this. So when they released Andrew, this was him hiding in the back of the car when they were driving him home. In case you see a picture, that's what this is. Hi, Charles Goodwin. Godwin. You have receipts, but you're not a mod. My sister says picture for her. Well, you are asking for proof. Does she look like Di? Being related to royalty don't mean jack. You're related to Charles and the prince? Are you the actual true monarch? Is that you? You're from Australia, right? I'm sure he has a lot of electronics. Anywho, so what they're doing right now is they're following the money. They're not going to get anybody for sex crimes. Sorry, guys. No. Do. Oh, come on. I have all my stuff when I'm like, okay, here we go. Ready? What is it? No, that's not it. Share screen. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. All right. Ready? Okay. Charles, she also go by rapper. She was the blonde sister. You can see them redacting the names of victims, but put the other names out. Exactly. And that's the whole thing. They're hiding. Okay. So this one on the right, this is Elaine. Okay. And this is her in prison. Now, there's a couple things that are wrong. Okay. See how wide her nose is? Wide nose, wide nose. Her nose right here is thinner, more shaped. I mean, granted, whatever. But even her ears are supposed to be different. Stop sharing that. Where's my other stuff? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? This is the other thing. This is a comparison, okay? If you notice her nose here, nose different, nose different. The spacing of her eyes is different. Her chin. See how this is kind of a pointed, more what defined. This is a wide chin. So they're saying that this is not Ghislaine Maxwell serving time. Okay. And another weird thing that I heard is that when Ghislaine gets her hair cut in the prison, she doesn't allow anybody to collect her hair, like, on the floor or whatever. She'll sweep it up and she'll take it with her. Now, people say that she does that because there are a lot of people that practice black magic. And if they got some of her hair, they could cast spells on her to kill her or, whatever. Another thing is that maybe she's doing that because if they tested that hair, they're going to find out that lady ain't Ghislaine. Cocoa Pop. Savile had all the cops in his pocket. Yes, I drive past Savile's old house in the Highlands every weekend on my way to Glasgow. Savile even had keys to Broadmoor and other hospitals. Exactly. They said that he was in a necrophilia and he had the keys so he could go visit the kids and the people anytime. But I think he wanted access to the morgue. We're getting kind of sick here. I'm waiting for my StreamYard to catch up. My avatar. Yes, I'm a beef eater. Fellow inmates in the country club prison that she is and call her Mary Poppins because she walks around with an umbrella. For real. Yeah. She was into the dark things. That's right. You know what? Grain, probably toenails too. I don't know. Why is it doing this? I don't like this. Okay, now it's back. Nope. No, it's not. People are dark and have no idea. Yeah, that's right, Zen. That's right. No, you don't have to. Maybe someone suckered her nose, like punched her. No, I don't think makeup could make her look that much different. And the thing is that she gave that interview thinking she was going to get some clemency or that she would get pardoned or whatever. And she gave, like most interviews, oh, I barely knew Jeffrey. I barely knew him. And then she went before Congress, the Oversight Committee, and all she did all day was say, I take the fifth. I take the fifth. I take the fifth. I take the fifth. Dingbats. Hang on just a second. Hopefully this doesn't do anything. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Even in the initial jail cell footage upon arresting her, there's so many things, Senator. I know that you're doing that. The thinking is that she's concerned with the passing for bull. And people are saying that Epstein is not dead. I wasn't really going to do Epstein, but you really can't. It's kind of like trying to pull apart a s'more. You know, the marshmallow's all melty and the chocolate's all melty, and then you try to pull it apart and it's all gooey and nasty and messy. Well, that's Epstein and Andrew. Oh, we did that. Oh, Spudler. Thank you, honey. No, weight gain wouldn't account for her jaw. Weight gain wouldn't separate her eyes so that they're not. She is in a low security prison now. That works both ways. Well, you know what? She's got a dog. She's got her own dog now. Spitfire, Nunya, Val and me, Peekaboo. Doodles, welcome. Welcome. I find myself welcome to membership. And Grandma Hug. Grandma Hug, welcome. And Spudler, thank you. What is my StreamYard is just whatever. Oh, I've been on for an hour 11. I'm over my time. Doodles, thanks, honey. Thank you. Here, I give you this. You're my favorite guy.
You so totally rock, Squirt! So give me some fin. Noggin. Dude.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm going to head out. You know, mods, Crane, somebody, Bella, Pookie, can somebody drop Sinner's link in case you're not subscribed to him? He's actually going through Epstein. He just did one from yesterday, which is kind of like the history and the foundation of Epstein. And so it's going to be good. I mean, I've been digging into all the things, but I'm trying to, I've narrowed my search to the royal family because that's my bailiwick. Had to take my doggies out. Oh, yes. Thank you for supporting. But yeah, Sinner's doing an Epstein deal, and it would be really interesting to follow him for that. Thanks, Danny. They aren't they, Spudler? Yeah, I had to catch it on replay because I'm a wiener and I'd fall asleep at weird times. So I caught it on replay, but God, that's good. You are subbed to him, but he blocked you. Okay. You can still watch this stuff. Or you could email him. Oh, he's found a way to fix that. Yeah, I heard something about the mystery block list, whatever. You know. Anywho, so that was on my mind. I wanted to share some stuff with you. We could talk about other things, but I don't like keeping you guys too long. I have and have. Oh, yeah, he was talking about this morning. Part 2 tomorrow is all about Shalaine's origin story and her dad. Oh, her dad. Yeah. How many people mysteriously die around Epstein and the Clintons? Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you being here. I really, really do. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get your shit together and go live and try to sound halfway organized. I don't know. Because I don't review stuff. I don't do off the cuff stuff. So it's a little harder, but I do appreciate you being here. And, hopefully, I didn't offend anybody. And what we want to do here, smells of Russia. Yeah. What we want to do here is get out the truth. And some people are.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. So That's the way it is. Well, always in my outro video, my video descriptions, and my about sections, there's helplines for everything, for vets, for LGBTQIA plus, for survivors of sexual abuse, for, if there's inappropriate pictures of children on the internet. So I can grab her at. Okay. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Here's one. She's mystery chick. Got it? Hey, Nicole. Hi, honey. We're going away now. I was doing anything saying, you're not alone. You're welcome. So you're not alone. And all the hyperlinks are in my video description and in my about section. So if you don't have to write it down or whatever, if you know somebody that's having suicidal thoughts or, just has questions about a transition for grief, whatever, it's all in there. Okay. And I love y'all. I will see you definitely Tuesday. Going to talk about some cryptids. I don't know which ones. Maybe I'll put up a poll later and see which ones you guys want. But thanks so much for being here, Governor. I appreciate it. As we were talking about Randy Andy.